So to unpack that, Ripple the company is sitting on over $1 billion in cash. I'm sure the SEC's mouth is watering at that money, not interested in protecting us everyday people. But I hope that the lawsuit reaches some resolution as soon as possible. Whether Ripple has to pay a couple $100 million in fines, they can afford it, but I would much rather have them keep that money so they can continue this expansion into custody, which is predicted to be a $10 trillion market by 2030, and tokenization is even bigger, tens of trillions of dollars. Hey, what's up guys? Kevin Cage here with another crypto update. We have tons to go over, so let's kick it off. Alright, hope everybody's doing well and let's get into it. So we have Brad Garlinghouse, Ripple CEO, still following 589 people. And this past week, Ripple the company has been on an absolute tear. We can see that Brad Garlinghouse also retweeted from Mr. Huber. You do realize what Ripple did within just the last 72 hours since Judge Torres issued her order on the Hinman emails. They acquired 100% of Medico, so we'll dive into that briefly. They launched a CBDC platform and hired an ex-Amazon CFO. Huge. Looking forward to next week. We can also see that Ripple the company did in fact just add Warren Jensen to the board of directors as well. Now he has decades of experience, as we can see in this article, spanning from Delta Airlines, Electronic Arts, Amazon, NBC, etc. We also know that Ripple the company acquired 100% of Medico during the XRP lawsuit, so we can see a single unified platform to secure and govern all digital asset transactions and operations, technology mandated by 6 out of the top 10 global custodians. Now, as we go directly to their website, on the homepage, we can see institutional standard for digital asset services, and we have huge banks right here. So we have Citibank. Every time I see Citibank, I think of what Ashish Birla said back in the day. There are essentially 2 to 5 major banks and a monopoly in the current SWIFT network. Now we know that SWIFT sends over 45 million messages per day, which is absolutely crazy. And in terms of overall settlement behind the scenes in the correspondent banking network, that is $5 trillion per day. And what Ashish Birla said is there are 3 banks that control over 80% of the entire cross-border market, a multi-trillion-dollar market. One of those banks would be Citi. The others are JP Morgan and HSBC. So it's great to see one of them right in this list. We have BNP. We have DBS, one of the largest banks in Singapore based on assets under management. We have Signum, Union Bank, DZ Bank, etc. We can scroll down and see the digital asset core system, and we can see a variety of crypto assets. Very interesting. Now, why is this acquisition exciting? Because they have a very bold prediction. They said, Ripple the company takes on the growing institutional crypto custody market that's expected to reach $10 trillion by 2030. We have Cowboy Crypto just emphasizing Ripple's newest board member, Warren Jensen, the ex-CFO at Amazon, which is absolutely massive. So I do assume he has an absolutely amazing network. And I always enjoyed this tweet from David Schwartz. All the elements are now taken. Google has Earth, Google Earth. Apple has air, Amazon has fire, think the Kindle and other things. We have Ripple the company has water, the liquidity. We also had King Solomon find another patent for Ripple as always, and we can see 4, in quotes, obscured routing publicized this month. And he also linked this if you guys follow him on Twitter at IOV_owl. And you can see this is assigned to Ripple Labs. We also have shared by Zepsi, so it begins for HBAR. Google the company, one of the Hedera Council members, hosts the May Hedera Governing Council meeting at Google Cloud at the California headquarters. Next up, we have Anders right here sharing a screenshot from the president of the company Ripple. Tokenization of real-world assets such as homes, bonds, equity, investment funds, etc. is primed to be in the tens of trillions by 2030. So really quick, BCG estimates for globally illiquid assets 16 trillion, but the best case is 68 trillion. So I've seen a crazy range between 3 trillion to as high as 68 trillion, so Monica right here says tens of trillions. What's also exciting, as we said, by 2030, with Ripple and the Medico acquisition, is that they believe institutional crypto custody will be a $10 trillion market. So if that's the case, what is the future market cap for crypto as a whole? Because we're sitting at 1 trillion. So we're sitting at 1 trillion, the all-time high is 3 trillion, and here's a comparison to the other asset classes. Some are well over 100 trillion, commodities 19 trillion. And remember, there are going to be brand new markets created from this, along with even the globally illiquid assets coming over to blockchain. So I want to talk about intellectual property. I know real estate's going to be huge, but there's a variety of other markets that are being tokenized today. So this is not speculation, this is happening right now, slowly but surely. So we had the CEO of Casper Labs speaking at the SALT conference. This is where you go to speak to the Fortune 500 CEOs, billionaires, and government leaders. And he says, think about Porsche or Porsche. Their patent value exceeds their market cap. So patent value is intellectual property. We're going to dive into this really quick. And intellectual property is something that could not previously be monetized, and now it is. Ditto to patents, land deeds, art, and more are other good examples. As a result of blockchain making financial systems more secure and also more tamper-proof, which is a huge benefit, another big thing to watch is the ability to add liquidity to things that were not previously liquid. So remember the BCG estimates for globally illiquid assets to be tokenized. And there are benefits to be connected to these blockchain networks and be interoperable with or run directly on top of them. And I just wanted to highlight a few things. So per this tweet, we can see intangible assets account for 90% of the S&P 500 market value. The S&P 500 is valued at over $30 trillion, so 90% of $30 trillion is intangible assets. Now 30% of that S&P 500 are patents or intellectual property. So we could assume another $10 trillion right there. And what Ronald says, the CEO of Casper, their patents value exceeds the company's market capitalization. Think about that and let that set in. And last time we discussed the 1.5 Casper upgrade is coming up in a couple weeks, and the largest companies are doing this deployment on Casper. And these companies include Nike, Toshiba, Koch Industries, huge organizations. Next up, we have this 30-second clip. This is an absolute must listen. This is from the director of IPWE and his opinion on Casper. So remember, for intangible assets, we are talking trillions and trillions of dollars of potential. I don't think it'll just be Ethereum. I don't think it'll just be Casper and HBAR. I think there's going to be a variety, and there are trillions of dollars up for grabs for those projects that get this right. So we can see from the director of IPWE his opinion on Casper. So remember, this whole thing with launching 25 million patents, 7 to 10 billion US dollars on Casper's public network. That is happening because of the collaboration between Casper and IBM. And IBM also has incredibly deep ties with Medico. So Ripple acquired them. I know Matthew Liny shared amazing information on Medico, just showing how deep it goes with Germany's second largest bank, etc. But listen to this quick clip.
The analogy I give to people is inventory management systems on the accounting side really didn't exist until the mid-90s when Great Plains did it, and then Oracle and other people copied that off of them.
Right.
But you're seeing the same thing with intangibles. And I think that Casper is going to be the chain of record for intangibles, just given the attributes it has and the ease to work with it. And the truth is you get no pushback when you come in with Casper. Certainly helps to have IBM on your team as well. But the just ease of use and ease of doing business with them is what's key for us.
One more time for the people in the back.
The same thing with intangibles. And I think that Casper is going to be the chain of record for intangibles, just given the attributes it has.
And just coming back to this image, the S&P 500, $30 trillion plus of value. 90% of that value are intangible assets. So right there, we are talking about tens of trillions. Now, this is not going to happen overnight, but the potential is there. So I know all of us in the XRP community already know this. We're sick of hearing this after years and then a couple years of being in this lawsuit. The day you plant the seed is not the day you eat the fruit. Be patient and stay the course. And here's a quick clip. Shout out Cowboy Crypto, Digital Perspectives, and Crypto Eddie. Let's listen up.
Well, last year, 2022, as I mentioned, we hired 350 people globally. We opened offices in Dublin and Toronto. As we mentioned earlier, we're expanding our office here and moving offices to more office space. What I think will be next, and certainly something Ripple thinks about, we started with enterprise-based cross-border payments. We talk about there being four kind of primitive pieces to blockchain-based technologies: liquidity, compliance, liquidity, compliance, custody, and tokenization. And Ripple really aspires to be more than just that kind of liquidity and cross-border payments. I think you could expect that we will expand into some of those other areas, either organically or through acquisition. And I think we'll look at, let's make acquisitions in markets that are friendly to these technologies. On the previous panel, you had representation from the UAE, you had representation from Switzerland. These are countries that are providing the clarity for entrepreneurs to invest, and that allows a company like Ripple that is larger. We have more than $1 billion of US dollars cash on our balance sheet. We want to deploy that to grow both organically, internally, but also inorganically through acquisition.
Man, so that was just a massive amount of information. So to unpack that, Ripple the company is sitting on over $1 billion in cash. I'm sure the SEC's mouth is watering at that money, not interested in protecting us everyday people. But I hope that the lawsuit reaches some resolution as soon as possible. Whether Ripple has to pay a couple $100 million in fines, they can afford it, but I would much rather have them keep that money so they can continue this expansion into custody, which is predicted to be a $10 trillion market by 2030, and tokenization is even bigger, tens of trillions of dollars. So just as Cowboy Crypto says, liquidity, compliance, custody, and tokenization. So instead of just liquidity and cross-border payments, Ripple is making moves. I also wanted to take a poll to get Twitter's sentiment. When does XRP hit an all-time high price? So the only thing that makes me nervous here is that the majority say 2023 with 37.5%. I'll tell you one thing, if we do in fact get positive regulatory clarity on a go-forward basis, I do expect XRP to shoot massively. We have an open gap at $1.59, close to the 702 Fibonacci retracement. We break through those levels, then we can talk about an all-time high price well over $3. We also know Ripple to demonstrate tokenization with the HKMA. This is the Hong Kong Monetary Authority. Think of this like the central bank. They're looking at retail central bank digital currency use cases such as equity release of tokenized real estate assets with Ripple's new CBDC product. So another central bank besides Brazil, Russia, etc. is looking at the XRP Ledger. As David Schwartz says, the CBDC platform reaffirms the significance of the XRP Ledger as it's built with the same core ledger technology. It has the ability to interact with the XRPL and use XRP as a bridge currency for cross-currency and cross-border payments. So he's trying to correct Blockworks right here and just add additional information as always. We're also seeing a lot of large Casper transfers. This one is $3 million, 65 million Casper. So dear God, please let this be a T1 exchange listing. We're just waiting for Binance, Coinbase, Kraken, and more. This might just be a giant whale though. I would wonder if exchanges would be validators or even delegate their stake. So we can see this one is staking as a delegator. So it has $43 million being staked right now. Crazy. And we can see under deploys, there are in fact some WASM deploys. So look at this wallet. This is right here, 35 million Casper in a WASM deploy. So this is WebAssembly and a smart contract deployment. So I wonder if this is a taste of an institutional user, because as far as I know, Casper has not made the announcement that the 25 million patents have been deployed on the public network, $7 to $10 billion in aggregate value initially. And that is sticky, so it's likely going to be there for years being traded and transacted. And every single upgrade requires Casper as fees. So with new information within the NFT metadata that exists on Casper's public chain, they can upgrade it and that will use Casper as fees. And then that goes to the Casper validators to be added most likely to the stake bonded. So 72% total supply locked up. Circulating supply right here. Remember, Cardano's circulating supply is roughly 3 times more than this. And what's crazy is Cardano had a circ supply of 32 billion. It hit $3.10. If Casper hit that same market cap that ADA did during the hype cycle, that would be just under a $9 Casper. Now I know that might seem crazy to some, but is $1 really that unrealistic? No. And there's people that bash Casper, but they have no fundamental understanding of the tokenomics, of the inflation rate, or anything between. And if you hold HBAR or ADA, their circulating supply is roughly 3 times larger than Casper's today. So if you think HBAR can hit $1 plus, which I do believe, Casper can hit $3 plus per that same market cap. And there's people still sleeping on HBAR because current price. I get it, it's not fun, but look at how many transactions we have. In one enterprise client, Atma.io accounted for over 6 billion of these transactions, 9 billion on mainnet. That is one partner. Can you imagine 5, 10, 15 more of those applications doing billions, if not trillions in transactions per year on the mainnet? That absolutely will drive utility towards the HBAR token, and there is in fact a finite amount. And remember, XRP over the coming years, right now, there will be more in circulation in the future. The idea is that demand outweighs the supply. So we have 52% in circulation today. For HBAR, we have 63%. It's getting there, but not quite. For Algo, we have 72%, a little better, almost to 100%, but not quite. And for Casper, of course, it's not updated on CoinMarketCap. We can see right on the homepage of Casper Live, 94%. So max pain is over in my opinion, 94%, a lot better than those other assets we just showed in terms of circulating supply. And although Algo has taken massive hits, they are in fact still building. There's a proposal by Algorand that was accepted by the Central Bank of Italy as we shared in the previous video, but I do want to just read this briefly. Italian government bond trading coming to a blockchain near you. The project proposes the creation of a government bond tokenization platform. As we shared previously, the bond market is worth over $100 trillion. This is going to be on Algo's blockchain, with the management of processes of issuing, placing on the primary market, and trading on the secondary market regulated through smart contracts executed in a secure, scalable, and efficient way on the Algorand virtual machine. The platform manages privacy and security by integrating KYC and AML functions, portfolio management, and asset management for complete asset lifecycle management. We have DVP operations on the platform are settled in real time through a proposed integration between the Algorand protocol and the Pan-European platform TIPS. This stands for Target Instant Payment Settlement. We've shared many times that the company Ripple also has some heavy partnerships and integrations with TIPS. And last but not least, I have this linked in the top of my link tree, a must-have OTC broker. I'll also link this in the top of the YouTube video description. Caleb & Brown is an absolute must-have OTC broker. For example, they're connected to dozens of liquidity providers. So if Binance during a bull run goes down, or Coinbase, which happens because of such high volume and high traffic, I can still make my trades using Caleb & Brown because they're plugged into the infrastructure in dozens of LPs. So if Binance goes down, I still have a backup and redundancy to make my trades. I'm also not comfortable leaving large sums of money on any type of exchange like KuCoin or maybe a Binance account I shouldn't have if I didn't properly KYC and verify my ID. I've had a couple friends already get locked out of their account during a bull run with 6 figures trapped on Binance. It is a nightmare, so I don't ever want to run into that situation. I still use this platform to this day, and there's plenty of benefits such as 100% uptime. And in the future, during any type of liquidity event or if any asset goes to the moon, this is what I'll be using to take profit. This is what I used in 2021 as well. So this is an OTC broker that can be used by anybody. You don't have to have some type of net worth requirement. You can set a variety of limit orders and you can swap directly between assets. So instead of having to go to the US dollar, which you can, or a stable coin, for example, you could swap directly from AVAX to QNT. And a few benefits of trading or investing using an over-the-counter trading desk is your buys and sells are not affecting the price of the asset and they are not in a public order book. So I use this platform as a US resident today. They are fully compliant, they're regulated, they're based out of Australia, and they're also expanding, and they have a variety of offices. So I encourage you to go at least look into them, do a deep dive, and if you decide to create a free account, you can use the link in the top of the YouTube video description. And this is a platform I actively use. For example, you can set limit orders and you don't have to worry about those limit orders getting canceled or turned off. Sometimes there's exchange updates, and I've had it with Binance US in the past where my limit order just disappears and it's canceled. Now, I didn't always miss a trade per se, but I don't want to worry about that. Hypothetically, if I thought that there was going to be some crazy wick or liquidation and I wanted to buy an asset very, very cheap just in case and set a large limit buy, how annoying would it be if that wick came but your order didn't actually fill? With Caleb & Brown, with multiple LPs plugged into dozens of exchanges, I'm not worried about that. So Caleb & Brown is integrated with Fireblocks. You guys already know them with iTrustCapital. This is the world's leading digital asset custody platform for institutions. So what I like about this is they leverage Fireblocks for enterprise-grade security through MPC cryptography. Now, one thing you may not like, but I think it's interesting, is clients are not given their own private keys due to this arrangement. Instead, private keys are securely stored in contractual agreement with Fireblocks. And Caleb & Brown with your broker manage the wallet movements on behalf of their clients, which requires multiple approvals from their custody team to action. So it requires multiple signatures to move the funds, which also almost makes it impossible for hackers to get your funds. On KuCoin or Binance, it's a lot easier to get a hold of your account and steal your funds. Now, a really cool feature that I like is when assets are held in cold storage, get this. When you request a trade, they either move the asset out of cold storage to the relevant OTC desk or liquidity pool to make the trade, or sometimes while making the trade, they actually use their own assets to make the trade first while keeping your assets securely in cold storage. So they use their own assets, which are already at the OTC desk, to fulfill trades as requested, and then swap out the liquidity afterwards to square off any imbalances. So that's a feature I really like, and I've been using them for just over 2 years. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Be sure to check out this website that is linked in the top of the YouTube video description as well. Big thanks to all that hit the like button, and until next time. If you enjoyed this video, I'd greatly appreciate if you could hit the like button, let me know your thoughts down below, and my link tree is linked in the top of this YouTube video description, with all links, crypto resources, and discounts. I'll catch you in the next one.